down.
No, it's the projector.
Oh, the project, you see,
Yeah, that projector is very.
you move, you.
I'm standing here, I'm okay.
Oh,
Moving here, I'm fine. Yeah.
Words of wisdom. I will forget that one's mine.
No, you won't, we'll do it once and then remember.
Give me right now.
You'll see spots for about 10 minutes, but you will remember.
I guess that's good. Well, welcome to the first in-person in New York Apache Pulsar meetup with our friends from Pinot. So today it's Pinot and Pulsar. We are trying this hybrid, and we'll see if people like doing it in person. They don't. But again, I know December, I'm impressed. People came out in December, storm coming in the city. I'm also doing another meetup tomorrow in New Jersey with a glutton for punishment, and that's with Cloudera. I'm doing Pulsar, NiFi, and Flink. We'll see how that works. But the Pinot is pretty awesome. I've got a live demo with Pinot, Pulsar, and NiFi that I'll show. I was going to do the IoT demo, but that seemed like a lot of stuff on this table. But I still have some in the Pinot database, so I could show existing data.
I would love to see your IoT.
Yes, I was impressed how easy it is to look up Pulsar, Pinot, and Superset. And I didn't know it before a week ago.
Cool. Well, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm David Simmons, I'm the head of developer advocacy at StarTree. StarTree is the company sort of around Apache Pinot. How many people here use Pinot? One know about Pinot? Yeah, okay, cool. Well, this may be a better review for some of you because I'm gonna basically just do an overview of real-time analytics and why it's important, and a little bit of an overview about Pinot, and that's going to be pretty much it for me tonight. This was last minute for me, so I found out about this on Monday afternoon. So here I am. So the first thing is, what is real-time analytics? And so my background is all in IoT. I've been doing IoT for 20 years. So kind of real-time data is native to me because that's what you do with IoT, right? And basically, you're trying to get insight out of real-time data to make better decisions, right? So you want to get really fresh data, and you want to be able to query all of that data basically in real time so that you can make decisions on it. And it's that being able to make decisions on your data that's really important. That's what real-time analytics is all about. I dug through a bunch of old presentations, and I said this back in 2015, that if your data is not immediate and actionable, there's no point in collecting it. Right? If you're not actually taking action on your data, it's just filling out data. And that's what really real-time analytics brings that really to the forefront, because it's all about getting insights from your data in real time and making better decisions because of it. So bringing in events, and you can bring in events, data events from almost anything, and then getting some sort of insight from that based on how you query your data, how you structure that, how you structure your queries, and then finally taking action on it. And again, it's the being able to take action on it that's really important. So I love this little graph of the value of data over time. Right? The immediate data is really useful, the real-time data. And as it gets older and older and older, it becomes less and less useful, other than sort of a batch processing. Let's go see what historically happened. We can go back and look at the old data. But it's that real-time data that's really, really important and helps you make better decisions now. And the sort of folks that are interested in this, of course, analysts, management, and a new class, users. Most businesses did not present their real-time data back to users in the past. Right? You didn't build a system that puts your real-time data up there for your users to see. But now with the way businesses are changing and some of the new businesses that are coming along, it becomes really important. So this is the sort of the real-time analytics quadrant. And in the machine-facing side, it's the term that everybody's using is observability, to see what's going on with your applications, with your hardware, with your data center, all that, being able to observe your own applications. Right? That's just sort of machine to machine. Then internal are real-time dashboards, and you can see what's going on. You have a dashboard of what's going on. Real-time engines and fraud detection. Again, the closer you can do your fraud detection to real time, the better chances you have of stopping it, and at least of stemming a loss from it. Right? If you're not able to detect the fraud until a week later, then somebody's already ran up a bunch of money on you, and you have to go back and fix that. And then this is the user-facing stuff that I was just talking about, the external order tracking services, things like that, right? So that your customers can see what's going on. Amazon has started doing this thing where when you order a package, you'll get at least I've started to get them to notice that your package is 10 stops away. Right? UPS does this sometimes too. And I can open the app and I can see where the truck is. I can see how close it's getting. Right? That's real-time analytics. Some of the other user-facing uses of real-time analytics are things like LinkedIn, right? Where you can go and see who's viewed your profile over time and those sorts of things. And it's one thing to think about this is it's just my profile, right? And so I go and it makes a couple of queries and does this for my profile. But then when you think of the hundreds of millions of LinkedIn users doing this all basically simultaneously and throughout the day, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of queries per second to get this data, to present this data in basically real time. You need very, very low latency because we all know what happens when we go to a website and we hit load and it takes more than about 3 seconds. We're like, I'm out of here, right? And so having very low latency on those queries, right, and freshness of your data being basically seconds old. I want to know what's happening now. I want to be able to see it now. I don't want the query to take forever. And everybody's doing it. So you can kind of see what the problem is here, right? Hundreds of thousands of queries or millions of queries per second with very, very low latency, 100 milliseconds, very low latency on a query and on very, very fresh data. So you're basically querying the data as it's streaming in and expecting to get sub-second response time. What you may not know about LinkedIn is in the background, there are all sorts of dashboards that you can get if you actually run a page, if you run advertisements on your page, if you are a recruiter and you're on the recruiting side of LinkedIn, or you're trying to hire and you're posting jobs. There are dashboards that LinkedIn will provide you so that you can see how your ads are doing, how your promoted articles are doing, how all of that's doing. And again, they're providing that to hundreds of thousands of people who want to see it in real time, and they're making millions and millions of queries per second to make this dashboard live and on very recent data. It's one thing to go and see, well, how did my stuff do last week or 2 weeks ago? It's an entirely different way of doing business to be able to go and look at it and see, this is how my stuff is doing right now. And I can go and I can start targeting things based on how it's reacting right now. Uber Eats is another great example of this. And as customers of Uber Eats, we don't see this, but the restaurants each get one of these dashboards, right? That shows them what sorts of, sort of the performance of things, how long it's taking for the, for a hamburger to be delivered and all this kind of stuff. And again, it's, there's 500,000 users here. They're making hundreds of queries per second with less than 100 milliseconds of latency. So it's a lot of data, it's a lot of query, and it's trying to keep that in real time. Right? You can imagine if you're running an Uber Eats restaurant and you see that you don't have to wait for a customer to complain that their order was half an hour late and their hamburger was cold, right? You can see that in real time on your dashboard, and you can send them a coupon to get a free hamburger next time as an apology, right? Rather than waiting for them to complain. It's a way to sort of get out in front of what's going on, because as a restaurant owner, you can see what's going on before the customers are impacted by it. And so you can start making adjustments to how you're doing things in order to maximize and minimize the impact on customers. Stripe is actually using StarTree and Pinot for doing a whole bunch of stuff, including fraud detection. Right. Again, what I said about fraud detection, if you can detect it when it's going on, you can stop it and you will have fewer losses, and your losses will be of smaller amounts. Rather than if you wait and you batch process your data every Friday afternoon, and then Monday morning somebody comes in and looks at it and says, hey, there was fraud going on last Monday, but we didn't look at it until today, and it's been going on all week and we just lost it. I can provide a dashboard and do sort of real-time auditing of accounts and real-time, it's real-time auditing of accounts. I can see what's going on with various accounts. I can also do some things to load balance how I'm processing payments so that payments don't get backed up. But I can't do that if I'm doing batch processing later. I can really only do that and have it be effective if I'm doing real-time analytics, so I know what's going on right now. Unfortunately, you can't read the screen because this is like the worst screen I've ever come across. But I will make the slide available. So
I think this is an old piece of a ship sail.
I think it might be, but it's really, even with it straightened out, right? It's impossible to read what's going on.
I get a better inflatable one in my backyard.
Yeah,
That's the next meetup.
right. Bring your inflatable one. We'll do it. Yes.
So Pinot is used in all of the three examples.
What's that? Pinot's used in, yes, Pinot's used in all of these examples.
Oh,
Yeah, in fact, little known fact, or maybe it's a well-known fact, Pinot was invented and developed at LinkedIn. Right? And the engineers that developed it at LinkedIn open sourced it as the Apache Pinot project. And then most of them left LinkedIn and started StarTree. So LinkedIn is still using it for basically all of their real-time queries and their presentation layer for almost everything. So Stripe needs what they call high precision accuracy, right? Their aggregations of data have to be exact. It's financial. You don't want to be off by a little bit, right? And lots and lots of small transactions. People charge as little as 10 cents to a Stripe account sometimes. Sometimes it's only a few cents. But there's lots and lots and lots of transactions. So you have to be really, really accurate, and you have to not miss any of the small transactions. Right? They want transaction level granularity so they can see what's going on in each individual transaction. They have to be able to reproduce the reports that they make and have them constantly reproducible. There's a lot of manual action required with something like Stripe. Right? And so they have to account for that and have ways to do that. And they have very, very strict compliance requirements because they're a financial institution. And they have really, really high security requirements because people are funneling their money through them, right? So they have both of those. So here are really the important parts of a real-time analytics system. Speed of ingestion. You're going to be getting data from a whole lot of different systems, and you're going to be getting it at very high velocity. So it's not just that there's a lot of data, but it's coming at you very quickly from a whole bunch of different angles. And you have to be able to ingest from pretty much anywhere at line speed. Second is speed of queries. Remember in all those other examples I was talking about, query latency of less than 100 milliseconds. You're querying a huge amount of data at high velocity, and you still need very, very fast queries. That's not an easy problem to solve. And you need to be able to scale it, because all of this is going to scale with your business. And it can't be a single point of failure, a single system that handles all this. There's just no way to scale that with these sizes of data. Right? So it's got to be horizontally scalable so that you can scale up as you need it, as your data increases and your queries increase, you can scale to handle that and keep the data ingestion at speed and queries very, very rapid. So if you're gonna build a user-facing, one of these user-facing applications, and we use these user-facing applications all the time and probably don't even realize it. Again, the Amazon one of seeing where the truck is and where my package is, right? That's real-time analytics. I don't know if they use Pinot or not, but they probably should. I use a bunch of reporting tools to see how the developer relations program is working, and they ingest a whole bunch of data from a whole bunch of different places, and they present real-time dashboards to me. They don't use Pinot, but I'm talking to them about it, and they're interested. So it's real-time ingestion with high dimensionality of your data. So it's a lot of dimensions to your data. It can come from a lot of different sources. And it's high velocity ingestion. So you're getting a lot of data. Right? It's got to be highly available so that it doesn't just go down on you. It's got to be scalable so you can grow it as your business grows. You can scale it out and not have to sort of shut the whole thing down and build a new one. And it's got to be cost effective. And what you're hoping to get out of the other side is your data is sort of fresh within the last few seconds. You're doing thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not tens of millions of queries per second, and you're getting millisecond latency. And that's what if this is what you're shooting for your user-facing dashboard, this is what you need to do to get there. And there's not much that can do that right now. So I sort of told you a little bit about where Apache Pinot came from. The fact that it came from LinkedIn, right? But it can ingest from a whole bunch of different sources like Spark, Hadoop, Kafka, Pulsar, a bunch of different sources, right? And in fact, the idea is that you shouldn't really care about what the sources are. You just want to define a schema for those sources and start ingesting data at speed from those sources. Right? And so you can see where you can run into a scale problem right there, because you're ingesting from all these different sources and you've got to be ingesting at speed. You can't say I'm only going to take data from one source if you want to get high dimensionality, right? So you're looking for good indexing that can do fast queries. You're looking for good aggregation and a lot of segmentation optimization so that you can perform those queries. If you're, I don't know how many of you have tried to use something like Postgres or MySQL, and it's great for certain things. But when you get to be either too large or you try to do something with it that it's not designed for, things go south pretty fast. Use cases are things like business intelligence, so I can see what's going on in my business in real time and make informed decisions about what I'm gonna do, right, in real time. Data products, and those can be either internal facing data products or external facing data products. And I can do anomaly detection. If I'm ingesting all this data and I'm querying all this data basically in real time, I can then use something like StarTree's third eye to start identifying anomalies. So then I can start being much more proactive about what's going on. Right? I can see when something is out of bounds, and I can take action on that rather than waiting for it to be a problem. Right? I can contact that customer whose hamburger is now 45 minutes late and say, hey, your hamburger is really late. I'm really sorry. We're sending you another one. We'll be there in 10 minutes and we'll give you a coupon for a fruit. It's like, I didn't even know play. Everybody does it. A little bit about the architecture of Pinot, because it's a distributed architecture. It's not a single database. It's not a single entity, right? So you have a Pinot controller that talks to the zookeeper, and you're going to segment the data. It segments the data across your Pinot servers, and it doesn't just put there. It doesn't just put single segments in single servers, right? Replicates the data across several servers for resilience, so that if server 1 goes away, I still have server 4 that has the copy of 1 data, and I have server 3 that has the copy of 3 data, right? So it's resilient. And I can expand this and grow it horizontally, and I can continue to segment the data across it to give me both speed of query and resilience. And then we have a Pinot broker, which is what you actually use to submit the query. And so you send us the query and it decides where to send that query based on load and other factors. So really, it's, you know, any user facing data problem that you have, that you want to solve, right? You ingest events and use whatever data ingestion mechanism, Kafka or Hadoop or whatever else you want to use to, or Pulsar. Thank you. You're welcome. Happy to do it further. To ingest that into Pinot and start querying and building dashboards. Actually pretty simple, it's pretty cool, and I hear that we're gonna have a demo later.
Yes, I will show Pinot, and I'm a Pulsar guy. It's very easy to use. And it's, I'm pretty impressed.
I did not have him say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
right,
see how I do. I do have a Pinot jacket, so give it.
that's true. I've seen it. So this is sort of our NASCAR slide, who's using, you know, in StarTree, right? 100 companies, we have more than that. Our Slack users are now about 4,500 people in our Slack community. I'm not sure how real time that GitHub stars is, but 1 million plus events per second, 200,000 peak queries per second, and millisecond level query latency. And these are a bunch of the customers that we have: Uber, LinkedIn, 7-Eleven, Walmart, whole bunch of them. Right? Who's 7-Eleven? 7-Eleven, right? Because you gotta know when your frosty's ready or your
I need to get that
all. Again, companies are really realizing that real-time analytics not only can help them make better decisions internally, but can also make them more attractive to their customers, because their customers want sort of real-time information. You know, I have an electric vehicle. And I want to know sort of in real time what's going on with it in terms of charging and battery life and all those kind of things, right? That's the kind of analytics that they can be pulling from the car in real time and presenting to me now. It's not just about giving actionable insights to the company internally. It's about giving actionable insights to the users, to your customers, right? So that they don't call your call center and say, hey, what's going on with this? They can see it in their app in real time, self-service, right? Fresh data, fast querying, and doing that at scale. And at scale can mean almost anything, but it's typically very, very large data sets. High velocity ingestion of large amounts of data and doing basically real-time queries on that. And Kafka and Pinot is a great combination, or Pulsar.
Yeah, we're like brothers from different mothers.
Right. So that's it. Those are all the ways to find me out there on the intertubes. I'm on, that's my email. I'm on Mastodon. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. On the World Wide Web. If your camera will scan this, that will take you to the invite for the Slack instance for Apache Pinot, so you can join our community.
Tell them about the points thing you got. That's how I got that jacket.
Oh yeah, we do have a point system. So contributing to blogs or things like that earning points. And when you get enough points, you can go to our swag store and you can order your own swag from the swag store. And we have pretty good swag.
It ships fast.
You can model the sweatshirt. If you guys is not obtainable from the swag store. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I got this a couple of days ago because I wrote an article. It is comfy. Just says Pinot. It's not nothing on the backs. It's not.
I got one too. My daughter stole it like 10 minutes later. She was like, "Ooh, that looks nice." Tried it on. Like, this is fine now.
Yeah, it's very comfy.
And we have our third-party dev.startree.ai, which is where you can actually go and play with an instance, a playground instance of Apache Pinot. We have a whole bunch of other technical resources there if you need them or whatever. But you can always reach out to me if you have questions. I can either answer them or more than likely point you to somebody that actually has the answer. It's not me. Yes.
Where are you using prior to Pinot? Like the LinkedIn, Reddit, and Stripe? But before why did they make the change?
I don't know. So I know that LinkedIn invented Pinot because they simply couldn't do what they wanted to do, which was provide these real-time insights to users, right? And so they had to come up with a new way of doing that, of bringing all this data together and doing queries on this data. And out of that, Apache Pinot was born. So I don't know what LinkedIn was doing prior to that, and I
Probably
don't.
like something like Spark or something like that. Maybe in house.
Yeah, I don't really know what they were doing before. But whatever it was wasn't working well enough, or they wouldn't have spent the engineering resources to invent Apache Pinot, right?
So how similar difference between Pinot and Grafana and Apple?
Grafana is not really a database. Grafana is just